Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's from Canto 2, which is entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 2, which is entitled The Lord in the Heart, and text 21. We're very fortunate to have Her Grace Gita Devi Dasi Mataji from ISKCON, Atlanta, to give the class. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila.
Jai, it's all yours. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2 Chapter 2 Text number 21. Tasmad dhruvoranataram unnayeta niruddha saptayanto napekshaha stitva muhurtardham akuntha drishtir nirbhidya murdham visrajet param gataha. Tasmad, from there, dhruvoho, of the eyebrows, antaram, in between, unayeta, should be brought in, niruddha, by blocking, sapta, 7, ayantaha, outlets of the life air, anapekshaha, independent of all material enjoyment, stitva, by keeping, muhurta, of a moment, ardham, half, akuntha, back home, back to Godhead, drishtihi, one whose aim is targeted like that, nirbhidya, punching, murdhan, the cerebral hole, vishrajet, should give up his body, param, the supreme, gataha, having gone to. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, the bhakti yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows, and then, blocking the 7 outlets of the life air, he should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral hole and give up his material connections, having gone to the Supreme. The process of giving up all material connections and returning home back to Godhead, the Supreme, is recommended herein. The condition is that one should be completely freed from desire for material enjoyment. There are different grades of material enjoyments in respect to duration of life and sensual gratification. The highest plane of sensual enjoyment for the longest period of life is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 9.20. All are but material enjoyments, and one should be thoroughly convinced that he has no need for such a long duration of life, even in the Brahmaloka planet. He must return home, back to Godhead, and must not be attracted by any amount of material facilities. In the Bhagavad Gita 2.59, it is said that this sort of material detachment is possible to attain When one is acquainted with the supreme association of life, parama drishtva nivartate. Excuse me. One cannot be freed from material attraction unless he has complete understanding of the nature of spiritual life. The propaganda by a certain class of impersonalists that spiritual life is void of all varieties is dangerous propaganda to mislead the living beings into becoming more and more attracted by material enjoyments. As such, persons with a poor fund of knowledge cannot have any conception of the Param, the Supreme. They try to stick to the varieties of material enjoyments, although they may flatter themselves as being Brahman realized souls. Such less intelligent persons cannot have any conception of the Param as mentioned in this verse, and therefore they cannot reach the Supreme. The devotees have full knowledge of the spiritual world, the personality of Godhead, and his transcendental association in unlimited spiritual planets called Vaikuntha Lokas. Herein, Akuntha Drishtihi is mentioned. Akuntha and Vaikuntha convey the same import, and only one who has his aim fixed upon that spiritual world and personal association with the Godhead can give up his material connections even while living in the material world. This Param and the Param Dham mentioned in several places in the Bhagavad Gita are one and the same thing. One who goes to the Param Dham does not return to the material world. This freedom is not possible even by reaching the topmost loka of the material world. The life air passes through 7 openings, namely 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. Generally, it passes through the mouth at the time of an ordinary man's death. But the yogi, as above mentioned, who controls the life air in his own way, generally releases the life air by puncturing the cerebral hole in the head. The yogi therefore blocks up all the above mentioned 7 openings so that the life air will naturally burst forth through the cerebral hole. This is the sure sign of a great devotee's leaving the material connection. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unminitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The translation once again. Thereafter, the bhakti yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows and then, blocking the 7 outlets of the life air, he should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral hole and give up his material connections, having gone to the Supreme. We are still continuing with the way a yogi leaves the body. Now, in this today's verse and the purport, we understand the aim is to go back to the spiritual world, the abode of the Supreme Lord. And that is possible only if one is completely free from all material desires. That is a condition. If we have even a little bit of material desire, we cannot go back to the spiritual world. And such a bhakti yogi who is practicing bhakti yoga for so many years, for him to qualify to go back to the spiritual world, he has to give up all material connections and attachments. Now, there's a big difference between attachment and affection. Attachment means, say, for instance, a mother is attached to her child if she's only concerned about his material well-being, good education, clothing, etc., etc. But the mother is very affectionate to the child if she is concerned about his material welfare as well as spiritual welfare, which means the mother teaches the child what is the aim of life, is it helps the child to grow up spiritually also. And today, the verse that we read clearly gives us the process by which we can go back to the spiritual world where there is no birth, no death, no disease, no old age. There's permanent happiness. Now, which intelligent person would not want to go to such a place where there is permanent happiness? We have tried, we have experienced here in the material world that the happiness that we get has a beginning and it has an end also. So, here, this verse that we read today is showing us how to detach ourselves from material connections. That doesn't mean we give up the family, friends. No. That only means that in consciousness, we get detached, which means we don't indulge in material sense gratification. So, when we detach ourselves from material connections, then we become qualified to go back to the spiritual world. Now, the condition given is that one needs to be free from all desires for enjoyment. You see, we've tried and tried and tried, and we are still trying to enjoy our senses. The reason that we are continuing to enjoy is because we are not satisfied. You know, one desire is satisfied, we are not really happy, we want another desire to be satisfied, and this cycle keeps going. So Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, he's talking about even becoming free from desire to enjoy in heavenly planets. Because the enjoyment there also is material. It is not spiritual. We've heard that Brahma Bhuvanaloka Punar Avartino Arjuna. That even if one goes to the topmost material planet, which is Brahmaloka, one has to still come back into this material world. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentions two verses in the purport, and one of them is chapter 9, verse 20 from Bhagavad Gita. It says that those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Krishna is clearly saying that if we want to go to the heavenly planets, enjoy their, eating, drinking, etc., they are worshipping me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, which is Indraloka, where they enjoy godly delights. Which means the aim of such persons is to go to heavenly planets so that they can enjoy for many, many years. But it's important to understand and be convinced that heavenly planet is not our destination. Why? Because we have to come back into the material world. Whereas if we go to the spiritual world, Krishna promises that we will not come back to the material world. Even though in Brahmaloka, the lifespan is very, very long. You see, still it is not recommended that we aim to go to heavenly planets. Now, if you all notice, when you all were hearing about the Srila Prabhupada's purport, he says, we must return back to God. He uses the word must. He's emphasizing that word. We must, which means we should not keep any other option. We must follow the process so that we can go back to Godhead. He says we must not be attracted to material enjoyment. Again, he's stressing on that word must. Very, very important. Each and every word that Prabhupada gives in his purport is so very important. Why is he saying must? We must not be attracted to material enjoyment and we must go back to the spiritual world because that is our goal. That is the purpose of human form of life. And Srila Prabhupada has given us the process how to purify ourselves and liberate ourselves. Now, the other verse mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the purport is 2.59 of Bhagavad Gita. It says, though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So it's very simple. All we have to do is give up the lower taste for higher taste. Imagine if we are eating dirt, mud, and if someone offers a candy which is a higher taste compared to mud, why would we want to take it, right? So we need to aim for higher taste so that we can, go back to the spiritual kingdom. Now, we will need to get the higher taste, for which we need better association. You see, when we look out for better association, look out for association of spiritually minded people, devotees of the Lord, then we will be able to follow this process. See? And when we start following the process, that doesn't mean the taste for sense objects will go away. It will still be there, but one will become fixed in Krishna consciousness. Then the lower taste will automatically diminish or go away. So, Prabhupada says, we need supreme association of life. Now, what does that mean? We need the supreme association of life, which means we need a Krishna conscious life. The moment we wake up in the morning till the time we go to bed, all the time, the consciousness should be upon Krishna. The consciousness should be spiritualized, or you can say Krishnaized, so that we can reach the aim of our life. See, the problem comes when there is lack of knowledge. When people are not knowledgeable enough, they get materially attached. And the devotees of the Lord, they know to take on the knowledge, understand it, and put it into practice. And the important point is knowledge. It's not blind faith. Just because someone tells us to do something, we do that. No, it has to be based on knowledge. And knowledge we get from the Bhagavad Gita, we get from Srimad Bhagavatam, we get from the scriptures that give us spiritual knowledge. You see? And to be able to put this knowledge into practice, we need guidance. Guidance from a bona fide spiritual master. A spiritual teacher is necessary. Just like we take on a teacher, we learn from a teacher, whether it is music, software, dancing, whatever it may be, whatever we want to learn, we approach a teacher. So why not for spirituality? And when we take guidance from the spiritual master, then we can understand who is the Supreme Lord. He's Krishna. What is his position? What does his kingdom look like? You see, Nama Guna Rupa Leela. All this knowledge we get from the spiritual master. And if we want to reach the aim of life, which is going back to the spiritual world, back to Godhead, then we need to be spiritually connected and understand the difference between Kuntha and Vaikuntha, Kuntha or Akuntha, right? Need to understand that. Difference is Kuntha means anxiety, Vaikuntha means no anxiety. So the spiritual world is considered Vaikuntha Loka. Why? Because it is a spiritual place and there's only spirituality over there. So if we make Vaikuntha as our goal in life, then we would need to be focused. They see that we need to be focused on our aim to go back to Godhead. Then we will come to a stage of what we can call as Krishnaization, which means we become fully Krishna conscious, even while in this body, in this material world. Unfortunately, many people think liberation is after death. No, we can become liberated even while living in this present body, which is material. Because liberation is a state of consciousness. It has nothing to do with the body. See? So Srila Prabhupada is saying that if we go back to Godhead, excuse me, that means we don't come back. That is what it means. Not coming back from the spiritual world into the material world. Now, the verse we read, it gives a lot of technical details about life air passing, through 7 openings, the 2 eyes, the 2 nostrils, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, and talks about the yogi who's controlling the life air within the body. So when the yogi is successful at the time of death, then he is able to, go out through the cerebral hole. Bhagavad Gita gives us a very simple process. We don't have to go to a secluded place. We don't need to sit and meditate for years and years and years. Imagine to live without a cell phone, without without the phone. It's unimaginable. People generally, as soon as they wake up, they take their phone to check their messages, missed calls, etc., and want to know what's happening in the world. But here, the yogi has to give up everything and go to the maybe forest or mountains in a secluded place and sit and meditate and control the life air. And it's possible may or may not be successful, right? So to be successful at the time of death, easy process is given to us in the Bhagavad Gita. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajyatanti kalevaram tam tam eveti kontaya sadadad bhava bhavitaha. Krishna says that whatever state of being we are at the time of death, whomsoever we remember at the time of death, to that state we will attain without fail. He's adding there, without fail. So if we are practicing bhakti yoga throughout our life, then automatically at the time of death, we will remember the Lord and then go back to the spiritual world if we remember him at the time. That is why we need to practice throughout our lives. And we need to mold our lives in such a way that we are spiritually enlightened, that we are self-realized, you see. So here Shukadev Goswami, he's instructing Parikshit Maharaj how one should leave the body. Everyone has to leave the body because this body is material. We are not this body, we are the spirit soul. And at the time of death, the soul leaves the body and goes to the next body. See, so here Shukadev Goswami, the spiritual master of Parikshit Maharaj, is explaining to him the general way yogis try to leave the body, and he's teaching him, preparing him how to quit his body. We have heard Parikshit Maharaj has got a curse that he would die in 7 days, so he has a notice period. So he's preparing himself with the help of guidance from his spiritual teacher. So it's important to understand that here Srila Prabhupada is talking about bhakti yogis, and he says there are various types of yogis, but bhakti yogis, they know their destination in life. They know that they want to go back to the spiritual world, back to Godhead, which is Vaikuntha Loka. Whereas Ashtanga yogis, they want to go to Brahmaloka, which is again a material planet, as well, or they may want to merge into the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. And in Brahma Jyoti, or they want to merge with the super soul, which is the Paramatma. But a Bhakti Yogi, the aim is very clear. The Bhakti Yogi is very focused and knows what is my goal in life, which is the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha or Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, one gets the opportunity to have a personal association with the Lord. You see? And that is based on love and devotion. Whereas the Ashtanga yogis, they follow a mechanical process. Okay, now my life air is here. Now I want to bring it here. Now I want to bring it there. And then now I want to, release it from the cerebral hole. Why do they follow this mechanical process? Because they consider this body a machine. They are trying to attain spiritual perfection through this body and through Ashtanga Yoga, which is a mechanical process. Yes, it is authentic, it is scientific, but it is a difficult process. How many of us can give up our families and go to a secluded place to meditate? Hardly anybody. You see? And it's explained in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam also. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, the whole chapter, Dhyana Yoga, chapter number 6, gives us knowledge about how to meditate, to go to a solitary place and should be near a river bank, sit erect, lay kusha grass, deer skin, eyes should be half open, half closed, concentrating on the tip of the nose, etc., etc. And going to a solitary place means cutting off all connections with everybody. And the purpose for the Ashtanga yogis is to give up all sense gratification. That is the beginning. You see? We've already heard about this process that has 8 stages. Yama, which is external purification of the gross body. Niyama, following the rules, which is the internal purification of the subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego. Asanas, the postures, so that the soul can be properly situated in the body. Then pranayama, the breathing exercises, controlling the breathing. You see? 3 activities: exhale, inhale, and retain within, retain the air within the body. That is a process. We generally, what we do, we inhale and we exhale. But the yogis, they inhale, they retain the air for some time, and then they exhale. You see? So inhale and retain, exhale and retain. That is pranayama. Then the next stage is pratyahara, which means withdrawal. When one has mastered the pranayam, the breathing exercises, then that yogi withdraws the consciousness from external nature through the senses, so that the senses don't run after sense objects. That's a process, you see? Because as Bhagavad Gita says, as soon as the senses come in contact with sense objects, there is attraction, there is attachment. You see? And then the person starts associating with those sense objects, which leads to desire to enjoy more and more. And Prabhupada says that is the most dangerous trap for the conditioned soul. But the yogi knows how to detach himself, or at least he tries to detach himself so that doesn't get into the cycle of sense enjoyment. Then comes dharana, which is concentration. And that dharana is possible when there is withdrawal. And what is the goal? To fix our consciousness at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord. Then is dhyana, meditation. Then finally, samadhi, which is complete absorption. So each step is more difficult than the previous one. You see? It's more difficult. And this process is, prescribed for a different age. Satya Yuga, Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnu. In Satya Yuga, the process was meditation for thousands of years, at least 30,000 years to become self-realized. But we are not in Satya Yuga, we are in Kali Yuga. So that is why the easiest and the best process mentioned for us in Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtana, chanting the holy names of the Lord. And, engaging the body and the mind in service to the Supreme Lord, fixing our consciousness at the lotus feet of the Lord. That is Bhakti Yoga, which is much, much easier than Ashtanga Yoga. Fixing our mind on the lotus feet. That is Krishna consciousness, which Srila Prabhupada has taught us. Loving devotional service to the Lord. Everything belongs to Krishna. Even this body belongs to Krishna. So why not use it in his service? And Krishna, 540 years ago, came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give us this easy process, Bhakti Yoga process. You see, spiritual life is a very serious business. They cannot, there should be no room to be slack or casual about it. It's a very, very, very serious thing. Like Prabhupada says, let us finish our business in this life and go back to Godhead. That should be our mission. And that is possible when we become fully conscious of Krishna. So this verse is talking about becoming completely free from material desires. Now that is not easy. It's not that there is a switch we just switch off and boom, there are no more material desires. It doesn't work like that. Giving up the desire for material enjoyment is not easy. And why is it necessary? It is because we want to go back to Godhead. We want to go back to the spiritual world. How? By giving up the lower taste for higher taste. And this process of bhakti yoga is actually so sublime and it is actually permanent. It's not that when we go to the spiritual world, we will again have material desires and then we will fall back again into the material world. No. Material life, temporary happiness, spiritual life, permanent happiness. And for that, knowledge is important. Need to understand. And to be able to understand the spiritual knowledge, we need guidance from a spiritual teacher. And that spiritual teacher will guide us and train us how to become fully Krishna conscious. So if we associate with devotees, or like they say, associate with like-minded people, those who have the same goal that we have. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that poor fund of knowledge is the cause of distress. If we come, many times when I ask people, what is your goal in life? They have no idea, absolutely no idea what should be the goal or they don't even know if there should be a goal. And those who have a goal is mostly a material goal, that I want to go to the US, I want a green card, I want to be a citizen of the United States of America, I want $1 million, I want this. It's all material goals. Rarely we'll find someone who say, oh, I want to make the best use of this human form of life, become self-realized and go back to Godhead. That is the real goal. And most people either don't have it or don't know about it. They're just following the crowd. You see? I remember hearing a story from Srila Prabhupada about a gentleman in a villager. One day he was sitting there and he was crying and sobbing. So his neighbor, who was also his friend, came up to him and said, what happened? Why are you crying? And why did you shave off your head? And he said, oh, Sargal Singh died, and that's why I'm mourning. The friend was, oh no, Sargal Singh is dead. And so just to, support his neighbor and friend, he also shaved his head. In India, there is a custom that when there is a death in the family, the men, they shave their head. That is a ritual. So when this neighbor and friend was walking around, some other villagers met him and they said, oh, what happened? Why are you crying? Why did you shave your head? Oh, Sargal Singh died. And the neighbor said, oh, we should also support, we are living in the same village. So they also shaved off their head. So by the time the news spread around, almost practically everybody had shaved their head. And when the news reached the landlord, not the landlord, what is he called? The sarpanch, the head of the village. He said, why is the whole village roaming around with shaved head? And he found out Sargal Singh died. So now he was intelligent and he asked the villagers, who is Sargal Singh? And they said, oh, well, we don't know who is Sargal Singh. And they went to this neighbor's house from where it all started. So the neighbor took everybody, the whole village, to this man who was still sobbing, crying away, Sargal Singh. And he was like, Sargal Singh dead, Sargal Singh dead. So then the head of the village asked him, who is Sargal Singh? He said, oh, my donkey, my ass. The name of the ass, the donkey, was Sargal Singh. Without any knowledge, without understanding, just follow the crowd. That is called blind faith. So, Prabhupada has given us such wonderful purpose in the Bhagavad Gita, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, so we can understand the purpose of life and not run after the crowd, not do what others are doing. Need to find out why, what are they doing and why are they doing. This particular verse and the purport is talking about Vaikuntha Loka. Now, it's possible to be in Vaikuntha Loka even in this material body. Now one may say, how? Make our home a temple. Wherever there is Krishna Katha going on, wherever anyone is chanting the holy names of the Supreme Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Wherever, in whichever home there is the people, the family is following a Krishna conscious life, that is Vaikuntha. There is no anxiety in such a house, and that house is considered Vaikuntha, where there is chanting, reading, hearing, association of devotees, eating only Krishna Prasadam, doing seva in the temple, preaching, giving this knowledge to others. That place is automatically a Vaikuntha. And while making our home Vaikuntha and following this process of Krishna consciousness, we will become so purified that at the time of death, we will think of the Lord and go back to Godhead. That is the summary of this purport that Srila Prabhupada has given. Our aim should be to go back to Godhead. The verse once again. Thereafter, the bhakti yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows, and then, blocking the 7 outlets of the life air, he should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral hole and give up his material connections, having gone to the Supreme. I'll end here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for a very, very, very nice lecture. So many things that you pointed out. Devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question or if you want to connect the dots for some realizations that came up because of the lecture, or you want to share some takeaway, please unmute yourself now and share. Hare Krishna. And while
Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare Krishna.
please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru
Please
Maharaj.
accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Prabhupada.
So Mataji, is Sukadeva Goswami telling Parikshit Maharaj to become a bhakti yogi, or just like a regular, bhakta, not worry about all these process, leaving the soul through the cerebral palsy and everything. So I don't see him telling him, become a, devotee and chant and just, do the regular thing like what Prabhupada said to us. And also Prabhupada says just keep chanting and eat prasadam and read my books and you will go back to Godhead. So he makes it so simple And sometimes, you say it's so complicated. So that's really confusing. Is it very simple or is it very complicated to go back to Godhead? Thank
Very
you.
nice question. Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhupada says it is simple for simple, complicated for complicated. So it's up to us. Now, your question is very valid. Why is he talking about, Ashtanga Yoga, etc.? We notice the same thing even in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna gives the knowledge about Ashtanga Yoga in chapter 6, and he ends the chapter by saying, Yogi Nam Api Sarvesham Madgatirantar Atman. He's telling Arjuna that yes, this process of meditation is good, but the topmost yogi is one who thinks of me within the heart, which means a bhakti yogi. So here we see Shukadev Goswami is giving the knowledge, like he wants to give all the knowledge possible to Parikshit Maharaj, but we will notice that at the end he will just talk about thinking about Krishna to become a topmost yogi, like mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. So the choice is there, this knowledge is there, so that we can also understand. Now, if we didn't have knowledge about Ashtanga Yoga, we would not be able to understand the importance of Bhakti Yoga, which is very simple and very easy. You see? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, now Bhagavatam was spoken way before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and gave us a simple process. In Kali Yuga, as it is said, we are not very intelligent, we have short lives, we are quarrelsome, lazy, etc. So he came and gave the simple process, chant and go back to Godhead. And that's what Srila Prabhupada also explained. So knowledge is given so that we know the difference between Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. And then we choose what do we want to do, right? We want to do the easy process of Bhakti Yoga, or we want to go to the forest and meditate for a very long time. So knowledge is just given, but Shukadev Goswami is not telling Parikshit Maharaj to become Ashtanga yogi. Do you understand that?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
but we don't hear him directly telling him to chant and remember his name all the times. Do we see that anywhere in the Bhagavatam, like Sukadeva Goswami telling Parikshit Maharaj, just chant, remember his name, and you will go back to Godhead?
Yes. So he has just started. We are in the second canto. So he has started explaining about the universe, the creation, etc. And now gradually he's coming. And we will notice that when it reaches towards 10th canto, he starts glorifying the Supreme Lord by narrating the pastimes of the Supreme Lord, so that Parikshit Maharaj starts getting attached to Krishna. So that will be later on, gradually. He's going to, like in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, he talked about Ashtanga Yoga, but then 18th chapter, he says, Sarva Dharman Parityagya, give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. So it's a gradual process. Okay?
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you wonderfully. And I myself was very much appreciative of the analogy, the story that you gave about Sadhguru Singh, and how it's important for people to have the knowledge, know what they're doing, just not do things, whimsically. Niyamagraha. That's the situation. That was one nice takeaway from this particular story, and what it points out that we should be about. So thank you very much. Devotees, you have any other questions? Please unmute yourself. Bhakti Rasa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna Gita Mataji, thank you. Nice lecture Mataji. Always, like to listen about Krishna and everything, pastimes and every time. So thank you Gita ji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else would like to unmute themselves?
Hare Krishna, Mother.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, Mother. Mother, such a amazing class, wonderful points. Definitely straight to the heart. I can say that. Thank you, Mother, for actually differentiating attachment and affection.
Mhm.
That was a nice, explanation. So thank you for sharing that. As you were reading, I mean, as you were giving the class, Mother, you were you were saying that even in the verse, and I mean in the purport, Prabhupada used the word must, 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 must. It's like, to me, must almost, equals to like means like mandatory kind of a thing. So my question, Mataji, is for myself, is, because when I hear such strong, like really strong, heavy classes like this, and heavy meaning in a very positive Krishna conscious, that's going to help us to, wake up and snap out, is what can I do, Mother, to make it back and not come back? Like what can I do? What should I do? What must I do? Like at least that's my question.
Yes, I also was very surprised to see that word must, not giving an option. And we notice Krishna also doesn't give option in the Bhagavad Gita also. He's very strict. Whereas when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was not so strict. He said, just chant, be unhappy, just chant. So what must we do to be successful is, first of all, have very good association. Like we were even hearing, I think Chandramauli Maharaj was talking about that association is very, very important. And someone asked a question, and then Maharaj said, we have to seek out, right? We have to seek out the advanced devotees and associate with them. So association will definitely help. And Prabhupada in the purport talks about supreme association. If you remember, he talks about having a supreme association, which means leading a Krishna conscious life. And we may say, well, I'm already leading a Krishna conscious life. I'm chanting, I'm hearing, I am going to the temple, I'm doing everything that is, But the point is, how serious are we about it? How serious are we about whatever we are doing, whether it is chanting, hearing, associating, whatever it may be? So God helps those who help themselves. So when Krishna will see our sincere effort, sincere endeavors, right? Especially for chanting attentively, when you see we are endeavoring and looking out for, advanced devotees for associate, Krishna will help us. He'll make the arrangements. So it all starts with us. What are we ready? How much effort are we ready to put into our spiritual lives? So it's up to us. So when we take this word seriously, must means there's no option. And I would think that is a kindness of Srila Prabhupada, to put it that way, to make us understand how serious bhakti yoga is. It's a serious thing. It's not, bhakti is not casual at all, as Prabhupada said. It's not a casual thing that, okay, yes, I've come to Krishna consciousness, I'll do whatever I can, whenever I can. That sort of mindset is not going to help us. Need to become very serious about it. And then Krishna will reciprocate accordingly. So I hope that helps.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Mother. Yes, Mother, it does. Actually, as you were speaking about, Sri Prabhupada's question, the question that you were sharing, to ask, how much effort I'm willing to put in. I was remembering a quote that I was reading a few days ago, and I think it was ISKCON Desire Tree, I don't remember, where there was a quote by Sri Prabhupada, where Sri Prabhupada says that we can test ourselves, we can do self-assessment on ourselves to ask, how much am I prepared to sacrifice for Krishna? That was one point that really was very strong for me, and like you mentioned, just making it like once a while I do this according to me, as I'm trying to paraphrase what you said, but it's the sacrifice part, the efforts that I got from that quote that very much relates to what you're saying right now, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mother.
All rise to Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. And I got, I almost even after speaking, after Vanessa came in because it was also very convincing to me. I forgot that she had asked the question. I was just going to chime in and say, yes, it's very, very important. It's, I have a question, but I want to make this comment following what you said. Devotional service, as you mentioned, it shouldn't be done just, it's a convenient thing. It should be done as a life or death situation. We are in prison trying to get out. So devotional service is to be taken so seriously. And so now that's only my comment. Now the question or comment that I'm asking you to do is, you did talk about, how to make the home Vaikuntha temple and then the things that you need to do in order to spiritualize a house like that and it becomes Vaikuntha. So my question is, sometimes people hear this and say, okay, I will try my very best to make my house like that. Then that's it, because I've made my house Vaikuntha. Then they don't take the service in the temple seriously. So I would like that to give advice and comment about that situation. A person that's thinking that I've covered it in the house, so what do I need to do in the service in the temple for? That's my question.
Yeah,
Asking people.
very important. It's a very important point. And if Srila Prabhupada thought that everyone can make their home Vaikuntha and that's sufficient, he would not have built the temples. He wouldn't have, installed deities. He wouldn't have taught, deity worship, how to dress the deities so beautifully, to keep the temple clean, to, distribute prasadam. He wouldn't have done all that. He would have said, everybody, just stay at home and be Krishna conscious and make your home a temple. No, the purpose of the temple is we not only, I remember my spiritual master said, don't go to temple as a guest. Don't go there like you're like kind of mostly like guest of honor and then just go there and expect everyone to, bow down to you and say Hare Krishna, etc. No, go to the temple to, of course, have darshan of the deities, to hear the class, to associate with devotees and do some what is that word? Some practical service. It could be washing the dishes, it could be cooking, it could be cleaning the temple, anything, just do some seva. And when we do the service in the temple, we actually purify our hearts. So, like Prabhupada says, when we clean the floor of the temple, that is like cleaning our hearts. It's equal to that. So, seva, service, very, very important. And when we do seva, like washing dishes or anything, we become humble. It brings about humility in us. You see, so temple is not just to go there once in a while to, oh, I saw the deities, very beautiful. Okay, Hare Krishna, and go away. No, many come just for prasadam, which is also good, but then we need to do more than that. Service is very, and it is for our good. It's not that Krishna needs our service. No, not at all. It's not that, the temple needs the service of others. They can manage. You see, we can manage. But this is an opportunity for us to purify ourselves. So service is very, very important. Very important point, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the description. Yeah, the very first point was the very first point was answering the whole question right away. If Srila Prabhupada wanted us to just do service at home, he would not have put out these temples. So the temples are 100% business Krishna. So we're there. And we also get the association, the temple. Family is only home, but association, temple, everybody comes, that way. in a social well. Thank you, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada
So,
says that temples are hospitals.
yes,
Hospitals for us. You see, we
yeah.
are diseased, so we need to go to the hospital.
Mm, mm. That's very, very important. Yeah, spiritual hospital was, yeah, the temples. Hare Krishna.
Mother,
Srila
I've also heard that, and I don't know if it's proper that said that. Probably you can correct me. But I've also heard that the temple is considered to be the embassy of Vaikuntha, right, Mother?
Yes,
Mm,
yes. Prabhupada also says it's the doorway to Vaikuntha.
mm.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. See, you hear and you learn, you hear and you learn. That's so wonderful.
We
Any
all are
other
learning.
comments, by the way? Just coming up on the top of the hour now. If not, then I'd like to thank all of you for coming on to here, and especially Mother Gita for giving such a wonderful class. New things, things that we're reminded of, and it really solidifies our faith and our Bhakti Lata Bija like that. Thank you so much. So it's the beginning of pretty much the beginning of the week. Have a nice Krishna conscious week, devotees. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhishya kripa sindhve eva cha titanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna,
Mata
Mataji.
ki
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
jai, jai. Hare Krishna, jai. God Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, God Shri Prabhupada.